One of the most satisfying parts of finishing a project is seaming everything together at the end. Some projects like sweaters can have many seams that all need different techniques to make a sturdy join that looks good and feels comfortable. Hi, I'm Hannah from knitting.com, and today I'm going to show you how to do the 3-needle bind-off. With the 3-needle bind-off, you're working with 3 knitting needles, of course. 2 of those needles are going to be holding the stitches you'd like to seam together, and you use the 3rd knitting needle to join a stitch from each needle together before binding them off across the row. It's a great quick way to join knit fabrics together without the guesswork that comes with other techniques like the Kitchener stitch. In the end, you'll have a little raised ridge of stitches that will also give the seam a little bit of a sturdier feel to it. To practice with me today, you're going to need 2 pieces of fabric, typically stockinette, to join together on 2 knitting needles, a 3rd knitting needle, the same as the other 2, and your project yarn. For this demonstration, I'm using a contrast color yarn just so you can see it all really clearly. If you're ready to go, let's get started. All right, we've got 2 swatches here that we're going to join together and bind off at the same time using a 3-needle bind off. And looking at them, we want to make sure that we've got the same number of stitches on both knitting needles, and I do. Then you'll want to decide in your project that you're seaming which side is the right side and which is the wrong side. Right side is the side facing out when you wear it or use it, and in my case I want this to be on the outside. So I want to put the right sides together in a sandwich to do this bind off. So I'm going to pick up both knitting needles, I'm going to put them together. Again, the right sides go together so that the wrong sides of both swatches are facing me. The 3-needle bind off creates a raised ridge when you're binding off your stitches that I want to keep hidden on the inside. I don't want to see it from the outside. You absolutely can do it the other way so that it's exposed, and that's a really nice design detail. But today I'm hiding on the inside. So with both of my swatches or pieces of knitting lined up next to each other, I've got the yarn tails on one side. I'm going to use a contrast color yarn to bind off with, so it's easy to see, but you would use one of these yarn tails or another piece of yarn if you don't want to use a yarn tail. In my case, I'm going to pretend that this is a yarn tail, it's attached, but it is a different yarn, just so that we're all able to see it pretty clearly. Then you take a 3rd knitting needle, the same size as the knitting needles you're using on your project, and what you're going to do is you're going to insert it between the first stitch on both needles, pull the yarn through, do that one more time, then bind them off. So you're going to do that all the way across. And we'll do that right now. So I'm going to take my yarn, and first up, I'm going to ignore these yarn tails because I'm not using them in this case, but you would use one of them. And you're going to insert your knitting needle, the front one, through the first stitch on the front needle, through the front loop, as if to knit. Then you're going to go all the way through to the 2nd stitch, so through the back leg of the 2nd one. So you see I've got it going through both stitches at the same time. Then I'm going to draw my yarn through as if to knit. So just like I was knitting, so you're knitting 2 together basically, and then sliding them both off their knitting needles. And you can go back through and tighten those last stitches up afterward. It's okay that they're loose right now. Next step, so you're leaving that stitch where it's at. You're going to go through the next 2 stitches, so this first stitch on the front needle, then through the stitch on the back needle, as if to knit, wrap it up and over, and then pull it through both at the same time. So you're basically joining those 1 stitch from each needle, slipping it off. So now I've got 2 stitches on my right hand needle, and what you're going to do is use the back needle here to bind those off together. So you grab that first loop, pull it over the 2nd loop, and that's your bound off stitch. So you've just bound off 1 stitch. And again, you need to have 2 on this needle again, so you're going to slip this one, the 3rd needle, through the front loop, through the back loop, and then knit them both together, sliding it off, making sure not to let this guy slide off. You've got 2 again, use the back needle to lift that first stitch up and over and off. So you've bound off 2 stitches, and you're going to work your way across until you've bound off all of your stitches. So again, pull it through both at the same time and slide them off. Use the back needle, pull it up and over and off. Just like that. And I'll meet you on the other side and show you how to finish it. Okay, now we've gotten to our last stitches on both knitting needles. You do the same thing we've been doing all the way across. Pull it through both stitches. Take both needles out. And I find it easier just to use my fingers and pull that last loop over. I like to make that loop a little bit bigger. Pull my knitting needle out. Then I trim, leaving a good sized yarn tail, maybe 6 inches, so I can weave it in later. And then open the loop so that it's opening facing the tail, and pulling that tail through and closing that last stitch. And this is a good time to go back to your first stitches and just tighten them up a little bit. Make it nice and even. So you can see that each stitch all the way across is even. You've got your decorative raised edge here. And on the other side, it's pretty close to invisible, especially with a little bit of blocking. And that is how to work a 3-needle bind off. Afterwards, you just weave your ends in and you're all done. I use this technique anytime I want a strong seam and don't want to fuss with more complicated bind off or seam techniques. With a little practice, you'll come to love how quick, easy, and sturdy the 3-needle bind off is. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to click the thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Subscribe to knitting.com if you'd like to stay in the loop, and check out our other social media channels. Until next time, happy knitting!